Hi, this is Nancy Yearout, and welcome to my show, High Road to Humanity. In every episode, I tell you powerful true stories filled with great wisdom that you can use in your own life as you strive for a higher road to travel. My featured guests will have their own unique stories to tell that enlighten your mind and your soul. So kick back, relax, and learn the secret to success when you take the high road.
First touch, strong connection, it lays deep in your soul.
Hi, this is Nancy Yearout, and welcome to High Road to Humanity. And I have a lovely lady here today. Dina Saalisi is here, and welcome, Dina, to High Road to Humanity.
Thanks for having me, Nancy. It's great to be here with you today.
I'm excited you're here. You guys, she's created these really cool cards. We're going to pull some today. We're going to talk about it. It's listening to the flowers. And I'm going to preface this before I read her bio. I'm going to give you an idea of what we're going to be talking about. This is really important stuff. So you're going to want to share the show. The idea that our emotions govern our physical state is recognized spiritually and scientifically, finally, now more than ever. So develop emotional well-being by using the energy of flowers with this powerful self-help tool that explores the 38 Bach flower essence remedies through the practice of positive affirmations. And you guys, I am so big into affirmations. You know, it's the power of our words. And now she's created this deck with flowers, and it's so cool. And this goes back, and we'll talk about this, the history of this. But with illuminating invocations and captivating drawn images, by the way, they're beautiful, you will discover your higher self by using ancient principles relating to earth energy in a way that is fresh and inspiring. Now, Dina Saalisi is a healer. She's also an author. She's an educator. She's a certified health and wellness coach. She's a Bach Foundation registered practitioner, which I think is awesome. She's a certified hypnotherapist, and she lives in California with her family, 2 pups. And you guys, her website is her name. So it's dinasaalisi.com. And the last name is spelled Saalisi, in case you're wondering. You know, Dina, I love these cards. I told you before the show, I was so excited about them. Tell your story. I mean, you were in California, I think, and you were just picking flowers, and then this whole thing evolved. Talk about this.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's been definitely a lifelong, gradual evolution with many different parts. And
Okay.
I think what really sort of got me, like I was working with the Bach flower essences. It's been about 30 plus years now.
Wow.
It wasn't until that I lived in California and I was working on a friend's organic flower farm that I really started connecting with the energy of the flowers, like just
Right.
being with them. And I mean, everyone I speak with, we all feel better just being in the presence of nature. And flowers are just this miraculous gift, right? That they
Right.
just grow up out of the ground. They're beautiful, they're colorful,
Yeah.
they're light-filled energy. And now that we know that everything is just made up of energy, this is just special energy from nature.
Mhm.
And so when I was working on the flower farm, my friends are very cool, spiritual people, and they would teach me, how to cut the flowers. They were flower growers and they would sell bouquets and do arrangements for brides and stuff.
Right.
Teach me how to, cut the flowers with reverence, right? And
Oh,
really connect with the plant. And they themselves, had like favorite flowers. And, after working with them for several months, first of all, it didn't even feel like work, even though it was physical labor. And
right.
there, at the crack of dawn,
Right.
it was really this spiritual experience that we were sharing. And we would talk about the flowers and, almost relate to them like they were alive beings, which they are.
Which they are. Yeah.
They are. And so that kind of began me on a road of really looking at them with this different perception, right? That's a spiritual perception. It's not just the physical matter of the plant, which itself is beautiful enough. It was really connecting more deeply. And so once I started doing this and still working with the flower essence remedies, kind of like a light bulb went off for me. And then it was about a decade ago now that the business my husband and I were operating was an entertainment production company. It folded. And I kind of went back to my roots in,
Nice.
of healing with the essences of nature. And I mean, like I'm an herbalist from way back. And so
Wow.
I kind of, knew it was the right thing to bring this to my coaching clients and to connect them with this energy that, not only is a beautiful, soulful healing tool, but it works.
I
You know,
know it does. It
that's
really
the
does,
thing. That's the thing that's truly exciting. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say a couple things. First of all, isn't it interesting how you were divinely guided to this place in California? Because yeah, back to what you really felt, was your mission. This is your mission, is to bring these, these are really cool cards, you guys, to bring these to the forefront. I like cards because they are full of energy. And I told you before the show, and I want to tell the audience, this comes with a beautiful case, a beautiful book, by the way. But I pulled one of her cards yesterday, and then I read it. I pulled chicory. This is what it looks like. And the affirmation on it is, my heart opens in unconditional love. I give of myself without expectations, and I loosen my grip and enjoy security. That was for me. And man, I loosen my grip part because I'm a control freak. So I pull the card, you guys, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to shuffle them and pull another one. I pulled the same card. And that tells me that there's so much energy in these cards. So then this morning I get up, I'm gonna pull another one of her cards because I think they're really cool. I pull the same card. So I guess I'll just put it on my mirror. These cards have energy, just like the flowers have energy. And when you said, I want to ask you a question because you really intrigued my interest. How do you cut a flower properly?
With reverence. So when we're looking at the plant, right?
Yeah.
So this is sort of the foundation of flower therapy, like what Dr. Bach did and what flower essence manufacturers do now.
Right.
We look at the plant to kind of allow it to guide us what its spiritual, metaphysical, emotional properties are, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So for instance, let's take the chicory, for instance. Okay, chicory flower, it's this bright blue, beautiful weed. It's a weed. I mean, no doubt about it. It grows in the roadside ditches. It doesn't want water, but it has this really luminous, deep blue glow.
Yeah.
And so you touched on the affirmation, which is a sort of control. And so when we look at the plant, like if anyone has ever tried to pick a chicory flower, it's almost impossible to pick, honestly.
Oh,
They're stuck in there. So like when we think of control, right, we think of being kind of stuck. Maybe there's a rigid property.
Okay.
And so like, thank you for illuminating that, because that's maybe not always the most comfortable place to be. But
Right.
so I love that you're smiling and you're saying, well, I'm a control freak. Like,
Well, I am.
but right away, this is what the cards and this is what the flowers are showing us, that you can illuminate that challenge within yourself. You can touch it. You can still smile about it. It's not like daunting.
No.
And like if you were to read further about chicory and what it's used for, that might resonate. And then you might want to use the remedy. You might just work with the affirmation. But so we look at the plant first. So chicory is like a difficult plant. It's definitely got control about it. It wraps around other plants. It kind of, might strangle them a little bit. And the chicory challenge is about sometimes, because we want to connect so deeply with our loved ones, sometimes we use a heavy hand, and we might know that it's best to use a lighter touch, but maybe we just kind of need that emotional, psycho-spiritual push. So that's what flowers offer us. So I love that. And then I'm going to share with you.
Okay.
We have these flowers. The Bach flowers are in 7 different categories.
Yes.
Chicory is in overcare for the welfare of others. So that, again, when we're connecting with our loved ones in a way that maybe is a little restrictive, we recognize we can loosen our grip, and that will kind of create a better flow. So before we started, I drew a card. Wasn't chicory, but it was vine, which is in the same, I have my funny screen.
Oh, well, that's cool.
Same category.
All right. What does the affirmation say?
Welfare of others, and it has to do with control.
Okay.
So cards, like you said, cards hold energy and we can
Mhm.
draw cards and oftentimes they're spot on. They really speak to us. And what I love about my card deck is that not only is it the card, not only is it the affirmation, but then if you really wanted to use the remedy, you could really work on deeper feelings.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you that question because I read in here, you talk a lot, and we'll get into it about Dr. Edward Bach and how he put the flowers into a bowl, a glass bowl with, what is it? Not just regular water. Is it
It
like
is
distilled?
spring water.
Just
Yeah.
spring water. Okay. And then that's how you pull the essence out. Now, if I don't have any chicory and I want to, use this essence, how do I obtain that? I mean, is there
Right.
somewhere I can purchase? How does that work?
Yeah, well, flower essence remedies, especially the Bach brand or the 38 Bach essences, are pretty widely available.
Okay.
So they're at most apothecaries, most Whole Foods, stuff like that. You can always order them online through the Bach Center. The Flower Essence Society in California is a very trusted resource, and they also make
Oh,
Bach flowers.
okay.
Yeah, but so you could order them. And that's what I do. I mean, because I'm a clinician, I'm not actually like setting bowls of water around and making all my remedies. I
Right.
purchase the remedies from trusted manufacturers and then I create custom blends for my clients. And
Okay. So question, okay, I don't mean to interrupt your train of thought there, but okay, so I get this. And what do I do? Do I just, you know, um, smell it? Do I apply it? What do I do?
right. So they have no odor. They're not essential oils. They're in a tincture form. So they're more like I would say they're more like a homeopathic tincture. Okay. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
So you take them internally in your
Okay.
mouth. And they can work as quickly as a few hours to a few months, depending on how deep the challenge is. So that's the other part. If you're
Mhm.
working on something, an acute challenge, like you woke up and you just feel cranky and you don't usually feel cranky, you can kind of do a little self-reflective process. You might draw a card, and then you can use the remedy. If it's something that you're working on that's deeper, like I work with a lot of trauma, right?
Okay.
That can
Right.
take, of course, longer because it's more deep seated, but it's a beautiful process of like gentle opening, right? That we can
Right.
feel and that we experience. And then often what happens is other layers begin to open. So it really is a system of deeper self awareness, like getting to know ourselves on a
Mm.
deeper level, being curious about what we're
Yeah.
experiencing, and then applying, the appropriate remedy. Yeah.
Right. I want to talk a little bit about Dr. Edward Bach. In the 1930s in England, he did develop the method for using this subtle energy from flowers to relieve the disharmony of dis-ease. And I love this. I read this, I knew it, but it just made so much sense. He said patients diagnosed with the same illness would have different emotional responses. And every illness we have is emotional. But here's what I starred. He discovered the emotional state of a patient was more important to their recovery than tending to the symptoms. And if we could just get doctors to do that today.
Yeah, yeah. And some doctors are,
Yes,
he was
yes.
a doctor, he was a scientist, but then he had
Yeah,
this greater calling, right?
right.
And so this is perfect. Like, I mean, I've worked with quite a few people undergoing cancer treatment, right?
Okay,
So I could have somebody come to me, they could be downright angry, right? Like, why
sure.
did this happen to me? I'm really mad about it. I
Right.
could have the person with the same even kind of cancer, with the same diagnosis come to me and be like, I just can't stop crying. I'm so sad. So you see right away how those would be two different paths to follow in just where their emotions need to be best supported, right?
Mhm. Well, yeah, it just makes a whole lot of sense because I've realized over time that emotions do, your body's talking to you. So when you have something wrong with you, it's because your body's trying to tell you something. And with these cards, I love the energy of these. I want to ask you something else. Is there a rose in here?
Wild rose. Yeah, there is.
Okay, because rose is always, I don't know, I have the essential oil rose, and that always resonates with me. What is the meaning of a rose or the
Yeah. Well, I mean, think about a rose. I mean, I think it's the most beloved flower of all time. Like there's poetry written about it. Like it's
yes,
emblematic of just love and divinity, right? And so
yeah,
I think it's very life affirming, right? Like rose really affirms life. The scent is heavenly. There's so many different varieties. It really is abundant in life force energy. And so
Mhm.
the wild rose is used for a state of apathy, like when we're
Oh,
really kind of disconnected from life. And I think so. The thing I love about this too is like Bach, he discerned these 38 different emotions. And when we look at them all, we can all kind of point to it one time or another in our lives that we've experienced these emotions. So they're very relevant to like just human nature. And so, when I talk about wild rose energy and I talk about a state of apathy, well, that's not to say that you feel that now, but I'm sure at some point in your life, we've all felt a disconnection from life and we kind of didn't know how to get back into it. And what I've seen with wild rose for people who've kind of had a lot of disheartening stuff happen and then they just don't even want to try. It is kind of a form of depression.
oh,
And so
okay.
what I've seen this do for them is kind of reconnect them with the essence of life and just, kind of restart their passion, as it were. And so that's like Rose is all about that, right? Just this love and this passion and vibrancy.
I just feel like it's healing. I don't know. I've always felt that way about the rose. I've always gotten the essential oils, and I will now, I think, get some of these. And you call them tinctures. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I think. This is really cool. I like the guidebook too. I just want to tell everybody that this comes with a guidebook. She tells her story in here. She also, each flower is in here with the affirmation and some background. It's very interesting. You how did you, and it also, I want to say this too, the affirmation really could be a prayer. You want it to be spoken out loud. And I want to get that out because it's the energy of our words, you guys. It's the energy that goes out into the universe. As you did this, this was an intuitive thing.
It was.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Talk
yeah.
about it. Yeah.
First, I want to say thank you. 100% a prayer. Yes. And like I've often regarded the little booklet kind of like a little prayer booklet, like you could carry
Mhm.
it in your backpack. But yes, so when I was going through training at the Bach Center, I kind of I was studying the remedies and kind of learning, we're trying to memorize what they were all for.
Right.
And so I just kind of intuitively started writing affirmations to help me ground into them. And then once I had all the affirmations written, I started giving them to friends,
Yeah.
giving them to clients. So I would like create a formula for a client, and then I would give them the affirmation for each flower. And the feedback I was getting was great. Everybody was like, wow, it really does help me. Like you just said, the power of the spoken word, it
Mhm.
really changes your thought process a lot quicker than if you're just, contemplating it, right? Like you're saying it
Mhm.
out loud, you're speaking it to the universe. And, you might not believe it at first. And that's another thing. Like sometimes we don't
Yeah.
quite embrace the sentiment. And that to me shows like where we need to work more deeply, or when we do finally embrace it. That to me, like I notice with myself when I do finally memorize the affirmation or feel like, yes, I'm really feeling that. That's kind of when I'm on to my next layer of healing. Like I know kind of
Right.
my heart is kind of healed, as it
Yeah. Well, the
were.
affirmations changed. I've been doing affirmations for a long time.
Yeah.
And I wrote a book on energy and the power of the spoken word. So I'm really into energy a long time ago, but it's so interesting to me to see the energy of the flowers. I mean, I knew they had energy, but you bring it to the forefront and it's just so interesting. And then you bring the emotion part in, which Bach talked about, and it just kind of all comes together. I just think it's really cool. Do you want to pull one for the audience today?
Absolutely. Do you want to pull it or do you want me
You do it. You do it.
to? Right.
And we should probably say these are illustrated by Audrey Violet. And she did a nice job, by the way.
She is an amazing artist, and she's a friend of mine, and she was a student and a client. And
Wow.
she was about 20 years old when she started illustrating the deck. So she's just about as young as she could be. And the whole process took us about 7 years.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, yeah. Because at first, like you said, it was intuitive and it was just a labor of love. Like we didn't know it was going to end up in the physical form like this. Yeah. So it really is incredible. And
Wow.
her drawings are so delicious and beautiful. And yeah, so I'm just going to get quiet for a moment.
Me too.
Okay, and this is a universal card for us all. And I picked chicory.
Oh my God.
Okay.
I got nothing. You're going to have to talk
Okay,
about
okay,
this.
I'm going to read the affirmation again. Okay. My heart opens in unconditional love. I give of myself without expectations. I loosen my grip and enjoy security. So, yeah. So if I think of this card on a collective level, like
Okay.
a universal, like how does this universally apply to us? I think of the human condition. I think of the state we're in. And I think many of us who are sensitive, and even those who aren't sensitive, are aware that we're kind of in a dire way.
Yes, we are.
And so this kind of, to me, the unconditional love piece speaks to me about maybe loving those that aren't so lovable all the time. And, I know that's not easy. And I know that I don't, abide by destruction or hurting other people. I don't mean loving destruction or loving hurtful people, but I guess I do mean just resting into that space of humanity
Mhm.
and knowing that we each, have a golden seed within us. So I guess the more we can kind of loosen our grip, the more we can all enjoy more security in our relationships, right? And just kind of reflecting on how maybe we hold too tightly and how we can just kind of live and let live, perhaps.
Well, I got to say, that's kind of blowing my mind here that you pulled this card again. But now I want to tell you what I think about it, because I'm an intuitive too.
Yeah.
Loosening the grip, I think for me, my heart opens to unconditional love. It's really important. I think that everybody open their heart right now. A lot of times, I think a lot of us are closed off because of things that happen to us, and we protect our heart, and it's hard to open it back up. And a lot of times, and this is the other thing, I think about the show when I say I give of myself without expectations. I'm always like, okay, I want more people to hear this information. It's so important. But then it reminded me today, just do it. And whoever needs to hear it's going to hear it. And then loosen the grip. That's the control freak part, where we're all trying to control. And I gotta say, it's like, let go, let God, let go, let God. Sometimes when you hold on too tight, then the universe can't do its work because you're holding on. That's what I get from this. And security. I'm very secure right now, but I haven't been for a while. So it's hard to okay, I'm good. So that's what this meant to me, to be honest with you. I think it means something different to everybody, but that's what it meant to me.
Yeah, and I think there's definite overlaps with what we said. And so that's really a beautiful,
Yeah,
I think it's like the being instead of doing, like sometimes we overdo it, right? And we mess ourselves up.
I know. That's true. That's true. So
Trusting.
I want to hear about your practice. So tell me what you do, and tell me, the whole, so if somebody would like to contact you and they would like to have a session, how does this work and what do you do?
Yeah, so everything's on my website, and I do meet with people individually, one-on-one.
Okay.
And so what would a flower session look like? Well, it looks like a coaching session. I think a lot of people know what coaching is nowadays.
Sure.
And we sit and we talk, and people come because they have a challenge, right? Like that's why they're coming to see me, is because they have something they need guidance with.
Yes.
I begin by saying, I'm the conduit for the energy. I'm not, that's what a good healer is, right?
Yes.
It's not, I'm not healing you. I'm not fixing you. You're doing the work. The fact that somebody shows up, that to me is like, the magic has begun, right? The work has begun.
Yeah.
So, so I just help people to kind of reflect and go deeper. And then we talk about the challenges, and I'll be jotting down flowers because I listen in flowers, listening to flowers, I hear
Yeah.
resonance. And then at the end of the session, I'll kind of line out, these are the flowers I've selected for you. And because I want to make sure that they resonate. It's not just me prescribing. It really is about the person feeling it and wanting to embrace it. And maybe that feels relevant, maybe this doesn't.
Right.
And then I create a combination formula. So I'll combine up to 7 flowers in one little 1-ounce tincture. I'll give it to you. You'll go home and take the whole bottle. So 4 drops, 4 times a day, lasts about 3 to 4 weeks.
Okay.
And then after that time, all different things happen. Some clients I see monthly, they just, kind of want to keep working with me, and that's great. Some people become students. So I teach how to use the system, and then they get their
Nice.
own kit, and I'm their teacher and I'm not their, practitioner anymore. And so it really is great. Some people come once every 3 months, some people come once and then they're good. It's all different things. It depends what they want to do. And so, yeah, I definitely work one-on-one. I
Nice.
do classes and I do a flower circle that meets
Oh,
monthly.
that's
And
cool.
anybody can join the first time for free to see how they like it. And that's really great because that's an hour and a half, one Saturday a month. And I'll run you through a guided visualization. I'll pick kind of an emotional challenge that we'll work with each time. And I'm also a certified hypnotherapist. So I'll do a guided visualization that kind of gets people, in that zone of kind of like
Yeah.
empowered and what they need to do.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about the flowers that support that emotional challenge. So it really is great. And we have a great community there. So I have a lot of different options for people.
That's cool. Do you have any stories you want to share with us about a client or a particular situation that amazed you even?
They all amaze me. Let's see what comes.
I just thought I'd ask because
Yeah, that's okay. Well, so this is interesting. In reflecting on chicory, I have a dog that I call a little chicory baby because she's always at your heels. And we've all kind of heard of that animal, right?
right.
They're kind of like always at your heels and they're very like sticking to you the way the chicory flower, it like has the sticky
Yeah.
to it. And so I have this dog and I've given her chicory before and it definitely helps her to feel more secure. So that's the other thing, like you can use
Oh,
animals, babies. Yeah. And I use them a lot on animals and I see this transformation. So yeah, you just put it right in their water.
how do you know what dosage? Just a drop?
It's the same.
Because I have a cat. This is so crazy. You're
Yeah,
saying it.
so single remedies are 2 drops. So it's just right in their water bowl and you can repeat it, every time you change their water, I would repeat it until you notice they stop the behavior. So like with my dog, it was about a week. Yeah. But she was a very clingy,
Yes.
they're not secure, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so
So
crazy. It's really crazy you would say that. I have a ragdoll cat and
Yeah.
she sleeps with me. I mean, she is right there.
Right there.
Yeah. And this would help. And she gets so nervous when anybody else comes around and she doesn't like, she's like scared to death, so that would help her security.
Yeah, for
Oh
sure.
my gosh. Well, I'm gonna have to do this. I didn't know that you could use it like for pets and stuff. That's really cool. So now what's next for you? I mean, you've done these cards. It's taken you 7 years. My gosh. What's on the horizon?
Yeah, September of this year, The Art of Flower Therapy is coming out, and it's a book, comprehensive guide to using how to use the flower essence
Oh,
remedy. So it's got a section on pets, a section on plants.
oh my gosh.
It's got really in depth for each flower, and then I add either a personal story or a client story, so it kind of grounds it more, like people can understand it better.
Mhm.
I feel like when they read that, so that'll be out in September, and then
That's
hopefully
fantastic.
next year I'll be doing more like the Conscious Life Expo and things like that. So I'm going to be doing more in live in-person stuff. And then I also have a healing arts studio in the Napa Valley that will be, it's kind of a soft opening, but full-time in the fall. And I do client sessions there in person and I do sound baths there. So
Now, what is it?
sound baths, crystal sound bowl healing. So
Oh, you do. Okay. Yes.
yeah, I
Yes.
also work with crystal energy. So
Yes.
I'm an energeticist. So
Very
anything,
good.
but flowers are definitely my energy of choice. And so everything I weave the flowers in with all I do.
I love it. Yeah, I have a crystal ball. I have the God, I can't think of what the note is. It's the love one. It's the high vibration of love. It's pink.
Yeah,
Yes. I have a pink Himalayan and got it in Sedona. And yeah, and I really love it. I don't play it as much as I should, but I think when you play the sound, I'm really into the healing of the sounds too. It sounds like you are, and that really resonates. I think it heals the neighborhood.
In fact, it does. And my same dog, whenever I do the sound bowls,
Yes, they
she's
come.
right there and she gets mellow and she's not a mellow being. So
Right.
yeah.
we're on the same wavelength, as they would say. I think that's really cool. What else would you like to share with the audience before we get out of here for today? This is so interesting, you guys. And now, how do they get these? Do they get them on Amazon? Is there a web?
Anywhere books are sold, anywhere, if you want to go to
Okay.
a bookshop, you can order them if they don't carry them, but anywhere books are sold. Yeah.
Okay. And is there any, I need to ask this too. I just kind of schmutz the cards and I said a prayer and I just intuitively pulled one. Is that what you recommend? I didn't see anything in here. A lot of times they'll say, oh, well, do this or do that, but
That's what I recommend. And I think that most people, once they have the medium, they know what to do. So, I kind of have a light touch. Like, I don't want to be overly directive because everyone has their own way and what's going to work for them. So yeah, I think just if you're being quiet for a moment, setting the intention and then just pulling the card, it speaks.
okay, perfect. Well, I thank you. I am so thrilled that you came here today and talked to us about this. This has been really enlightening, even though I know about energy and I teach the audience about energy. I mean, this is just fabulous stuff. And thank you for that. I'm going to get some of the tinctures so I guess I'll have to get the Bach flowers and look and see which ones, if somebody doesn't have a session with you and they just pull a few cards and then order them, you feel like that's okay?
I feel like that's okay. I also feel like they could just work with affirmation alone and that could do the trick,
They don't really need
powerful. It's
yeah.
powerful. You could go
Yeah.
out, you could try to find the flower in person
I
and
know, I thought about that.
sit with it or make your own there's so many things. I have a YouTube video about how to make a flower essence remedy. So
Oh,
we'll
cool.
get on my YouTube channel. There's I think like a 10-minute video. And
Okay.
it just shows you how to do it. So there's many ways to connect with flower energy. And that is what I wanted to leave people with, is just
Good. Tell us.
really the awareness that nature is the one source of energy that nourishes every living being on the planet. So this is the season of light, with the days at their longest. Go out, be in nature, be with the flowers, and really just embrace the healing that's there. It's free, it's there.
Yeah, we need to get outside, you guys, ground and heal. And the energy of the earth is very powerful. Wow. Well, thank you. Thanks for joining us today. You guys, it's called Listening to the Flowers. If you want to get the cards, they're by Dina Saalisi and illustrated by Audrey Violet. And I appreciate you coming on the show today. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, you guys, I'm going to get out of here for today. If you want an angel reading, go to my website, nancyyearout.com, and you can book your date and time. I hope you guys have a fabulous week and God bless.